In our Module 4 environment, we will put together our initial risk register. Here's the template that we're going to follow. The risk, which is the event that has not yet occurred, but could occur during the project that would alter or affect the project schedule, scope, or budget. Anything that has already occurred is considered an issue. So an issue is something that has happened that has impacted the project. A risk is something that could happen that would impact the project. Our second column is probability, how the likelihood of an event occurring. The impact, what is the overall effect on the project should this risk truly turn into an issue. The combined rating, which is the combination of probability and impact. The description, sufficient detail so that stakeholders, including you, know what the risk is. We could identify a risk, come back to our risk list 3 or more weeks later and not remember what the risk is because we were not clear enough in our risk description. The effect or the consequences to the project were this risk to occur. Indicators or triggers. The management strategy. Notice the use of accept, avoid, mitigate, and transfer, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. And then finally, contingency. I've added this response here because in PMBOK terms, this is called a response. Contingency is too limiting of a term, and I don't like the use of that term within the risk register. All right, so let's look at how I've modified or how I've approached the risk register. Remember my project, we're moving manufacturing of a biochemical to another plant in North Carolina. I've identified 5 risks. The first being that the North Carolina plant air filtration system may not filter out the dust appropriate to HEPA standard 0.3. Notice that the probability, impact, and combined rating columns are empty. We don't need that yet. We'll do that next in our next module. The description of the risk, the plant air filtration system is not conducive to the molecule X manufacture. And the effect of the risk is we'll have to contract with an HVAC vendor to renovate the air filtration system in the building. The building was not originally built to handle clean room or a high specification filtration. The indicators, a plant walkthrough to evaluate the overall manufacturing environment. Management strategy. Notice my use of our risk terms, avoid. And then our response is increase the budget for specialized air filtration systems and add 2 weeks to the schedule for the installation. So the main things to look at here is each of these entries are clear, they're understandable, and whether I look at them now or I come back and look at them in 2 or 3 months, I understand, well, hopefully you do as well, I understand what the risk is, the detail, the description, the effects, and the indicators. It's clear, it's concise, there's clarity. I'm not putting multiple risks in. My risk is very specific. I'm not saying the project could be late. That's a terrible risk. Project can be late is the effect of a risk. There's a risk factor or a risk cause that will potentially make the project be late. Now I want to point 2 other things out. Look at risk number 3. Early delivery of molecule X manufacturer in North Carolina. The description is the early delivery will earn a high charitable donation. This is an example of a positive risk. All risks are not necessarily negative. This is a positive risk. If we can deliver early, then the company will give a donation to a charity of the project team's choice. And look at our strategy. We're going to exploit this opportunity, but our response is we'll accept on-time delivery. If we can't get the early delivery, that's fine, as long as we are still on time. look at risk number 5, the last thing I want to point out, late delivery of specialized machinery. We need specialized machinery to manufacture molecule X. The enzyme separation and grafting machines are manufactured to our spec by Biologic. So here we're going to transfer this risk as part of machinery procurement contract. The machinery schedule and management will be managed by Biologic along with late penalties. In transfer, we are transferring the management of the risk to an entity, to a third party. And so we're transferring the risk of late delivery of the Biologic machinery to the Biologic company as a result of, or because we're contracting with late penalties, putting the onus on Biologic to deliver on time. Would that be sufficient? I would probably also, as a project manager, avoid this risk by having weekly or bi-weekly meetings with Biologic, making sure that they're on track. And if I feel that they are not appropriately or adequately managing the risk, perhaps transfer by contracting with a second or an additional vendor. Okay, I hope this has helped you all in this assignment, and let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.